Welcome to Thoughts Can Change Your Life with me, Reverend Lee. I love a life that's simple. I do everything I can to simplify my life. In doing so, it makes my life easier. I'm able to be more present in the moment. And so I thought I'd talk to you about a simple path that everyone can use, no matter what's your background, no matter where you're coming from, but everyone can use this simple path to live their life. And the first thing is you have to accept what is. I don't care what, you have to accept what is. Once you've accepted what is, you are now able to choose what's the next step. And here's the key when you make that choice. Is that choice about expansion or is that choice about contraction? Because if you're making a choice that's about expansion, you're what? You're going with the flow of life. Here's something that people don't understand. Life is change, and change is life. Life is eternally and forever changing. It will never remain stagnant. To try to remain stagnant, to go backwards in time, to go backwards in your growth, you're going against the natural rhythm of life. And you can't go against the natural rhythm of life. It's painful. It's exhausting. It creates great stress, which creates great illness in us. But when we go with the flow of life, man, our bodies respond differently. We've got energy. So I don't care what it is. I do not care what it is. I don't care when it happened. I don't care who was involved. You have to accept it. It happened. Okay, now how do I move forward? And not only how do I move forward, how do I move forward so that I can have a more expanded, blissful, fulfilling life? You see, if you're not expanding, can you be fulfilled? No, because your natural tendency is to experience more. So being fulfilled means you're constantly doing more expansive things with your life. I find, like in teaching, I'm always going for what's a new concept, what's a new idea, what's a new way of presenting something that maybe someone will hear it differently and then they can play with it. They can experiment with it. They're willing to take that chance to say, hey, does this work in my life? And then when they do, they can prove it for themselves and now they own it. I've learned through the lesson of hard knocks that I can't change another person. I can't, but I can question. I can put questions out there that allow that person, if they're open, to ask that question. And if someone asks a question, they change. It's real interesting. My son made an observation to me. He said, people like Joe Rogan and people like, I can't think of his name right now. It's okay. I can see his face. Are gateways to the far right. And he didn't mean, Jordan Peterson is the other one I'm thinking about. He didn't mean that Joe and Jordan are far righters. He meant that these two individuals question everything. And if you question everything, you're going to go against what is being presented to society. You're going to form your own opinions. And then you might get labeled. I want to be labeled as a radical. I want to be labeled as an individual. I want to be labeled as unique. I don't want to be labeled like everybody else, a part of a fold. I wasn't born to be part of a fold, and neither were you. This is the thing. Labels limit. Living without labels are expansive. And that's our natural flow. So if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious about things in your life, I ask the question, what labels are you putting on yourself? And do you feel it's necessary to put a label on yourself? I'm going to label me. I'm Lee. I'm unique. I was created out of the infinite, and everything in me, about me, is the infinite expressing as an individual. Doesn't that sound bold and brash? How dare I be so egotistical? I'm not. Because what I know for me, I know for everyone. Everyone is unique. Everyone has gifts. Everyone is bold. Everyone is meant to be different, meant to be radical. Radical simply means going against the status quo. Well, the status quo, if you're fighting, if you're not going with the status, if you're going with the status quo, you're not about change. You're buying into a set ideology. So this is not a conversation I'm having with you that has anything to do with politics. This is a conversation I'm having with you trying to get you to understand what self-love is. Self-love is accepting yourself as you are and embracing the fact that unlimited possibilities exist within you, and that you have the freedom to choose what possibilities you want to experience in your life. And as you move forward, making these choices of expansion, of growing, of becoming more, you're in the harmony and rhythm of life. And it's fulfilling. You may think that's radical. I hope you do. Because if we're not radical, we're not going to go anywhere. Our lives are going to be miserable. And don't go judging people. Don't go judging people who are not radical, that have bought into whatever it is you may think they bought into. Don't judge them. Just know they're in their perfect place. Here's the key thing. Ask this question. Is there anything I can do about it? In reality, no. So let it go. What you can do is you can look at yourself in the mirror. You can look at yourself and say, who am I now? Accept who I am now. And then ask the question, now who do I want to become? And what's my next step to becoming that person? Now you're going to have a reason to get up every morning, because you're going to be asking that question, what is mine to do today that's unique, that's expansive? Heidi says, be free. Of course, you're free all the time. You just think you're imprisoned by it. Don't think that. You're free. That's your natural. That is the greatest value that everyone has. It's the underlying value of all things is freedom. And we will tolerate a lack of freedom to a certain point, and then we'll rebel. I decided to rebel early. I didn't need to be oppressed. I decided within me, it wants uniqueness. So that's my message for today. A simple mantra for life. Accept what is and choose what is next. But in that choice of what is next, make sure it's about for a greater expansion of life. Because when it is, ooh-wee, love it. Until next time, my folks, make this your best day ever. Have a great one. Aloha.